What is up, though, Lions fans? It's your boy Motor City Don P. We're back here once again. You already know what it is when you see me in front of your TV. One thing's for certain, and three things are for sure. Number one, the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. Number two, we came to give you stats and not none of that static. And number three, and perhaps the most important number of them all, number three, want to make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. And you may be asking yourself, how, Don? How, Mr. P, does one keep their Lions news pragmatic? Well, it's very simple. I'm glad you asked, and I'll tell you. Because I don't shy away. I don't shy away from giving you the information that you need. Smash the like button, subscribe, and share with your peoples. And once you've done that, in any order, you've kept your Lions news pragmatic. Indeed. And also, once you share this stream with your mothers, your brothers, your fathers, your sisters, your cousins, your uncles, your nieces, nephews, your fathers, brothers, sisters, cousins, friends, family, you name it. You name it. You have indeed cared about those people. We got some things that we gotta have to get into today. There's some things that some people said. Jared Goff is pissed off. Dan Campbell is talking about people. And I want to do a thought exercise with the chat. So, hey, a little bit later on, when everybody gets in here, we will do our thought exercise because I think it is something that's necessary. I think with the type of fan base that we have, I think with the type of people that are in that fan base, that we need to do thought exercises together. We need to address some things because I think that there are some, I don't know. I just think that there are some things that are not true that many of us believe. And I want to try to debunk those things so that as we go forward as a fan base, we can be more like the Philly fans. Let's go ahead and get into it. All right. Jared Goff was on the morning show or talk radio show. Was it Costa? 97.1 the ticket. So they asked him the question. They said, we had some people calling in yesterday. What up, though, Lamico Cardenas? They said we had some people calling in yesterday, and those fans didn't believe that you guys would make the playoffs and blah, 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 blah. So Jared Goff laughs, and he goes, well, I don't know who said that, but, frankly, it pisses me off. Jared, you can be pissed off all you want. Here's my question. Who's your Michael Jordan? Right. Who's your Tom Brady? No, I'm not saying talent-wise. There's no Michael Jordan on this team. There's no Tom Brady on this team. Right? We're talking about the greatest of all time. Who's your Kobe Bryant on this team? Who's got the Mamba mentality? Because I asked that question because of this. Jared Goff, you have the nerve to get upset and to be pissed off that fans don't believe in you anymore, that fans don't believe in your ability to make the playoffs when you no longer control your destiny. That's number one. You don't control your destiny. You have zero control over making the playoffs. The only thing that you can do is to win the next 3 games. Then hope and pray. And I told you yesterday, shout out my boy Easy from the Woodward Heavyweights and from LNU. Hope is not a strategy. Okay? So you're in this in the situation where you're hoping and wishing. Right? And you know what they say, hope in one hand and piss in the other and see which one fills up first. But you're pissed off. At the time when you're 8-6 and someone tells you that they don't believe that you're going to make the playoffs, that's not the time to get pissed off. That's why I said, who's your Michael Jordan? In week 1, before you played the Packers, who was your Michael Jordan that went down to a restaurant in Green Bay, got the wrong order and said, I took that personally, and I came and I dropped 50 on him? Who's your Michael Jordan? Who's your Tom Brady? Who, the week of practice, preparing for a team, who found a reason to hate the other guy across from him? Who's your Tom Brady? Who's your Kobe Bryant that said, I'm dropping 84 points, and I don't care how many times I have to shoot? Who is that on this team? Because when you sit up here and say, and yeah, hopefully we'll just have to string these three together, blah, 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 blah. Dude, it's too late for all that, Jared. It's too late. Right? Week 1 is when this needed to happen. When you said, hey, people came out and they didn't like your performance. Oh, well, I'm pissed off. They didn't like the performance. Okay, well, we know we can do better than that, and we're going to show y'all this year. And then right now you're sitting on 12, 13 wins. That was when it was time to get that chip on your shoulder and to get pissed off. And then correct me if I'm wrong, Jared Goff got pissed off earlier in this season when somebody said something. We're 8-6. So it didn't really matter, because where is your Michael Jordan? Where is your Kobe Bryant? Where is your Tom Brady? Who is going out and taking everything personally? Who is going out and finding reasons to hate the other team? Who is going out and say, I don't care what you do, I'm still going to get mine. I'm dropping 84 points, don't care if I have to shoot 80 times. Who is that on this team? Because that's the mentality that we need to have. That's the mentality that we need to have. Those people that I mentioned, you know how many championships are between those 3 people? Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant have 11 together. Okay? 6 and 5. Tom Brady has 7. It's 18. That's damn near 20 championships between those 3 people. And that's what we need. Because you're getting mad, Jared Goff. You're getting pissed off at 8-6 after 14 weeks, after 14 games, and you do not control your destiny. I don't care if you're mad or not. I don't care if you're pissed off or not. Where was that energy when you controlled your own destiny? Where was that energy last week, Sunday, when we played the damn Rams in the second half? Where was that energy? Where everyone's pissed off? Where was it? Because it doesn't matter now. It's now it's just for show. Make the playoffs, don't make the playoffs. I don't actually care. Really right now, we're looking at one man, right? We're looking at one man, and I hate to piggyback off the movement of Derek and everything, because I know he's had Brad Holmes in his sights for quite a while, right? And I was once reluctant not to criticize Brad Holmes, but I thought that Brad Holmes would get it. And then this offseason, the arrogance and the bravado remained, and the moves did nothing. So remember, you could pump your chest out after you drafted Jahmyr Gibbs and people said you were crazy. And you got Brian Branch and you got Sam Laporta and you got Jack Campbell, all those guys in the same draft. You could pump your chest out because that was a phenomenal draft. That's probably one of the best drafts as far as a haul of players. I'm not going to put it in the top 10 because I would have to do the research. But it's definitely in the tops of a draft haul of players that you get on one team in 1 year in one draft. Right? But then you watch these other moves. You watch all these freaking projects. You watch his stubbornness. His the gaslighting thing really soured me on him. The gaslighting when he came out and said that the fans were angry or were upset because we got Aiden Hutchinson. And Aiden Hutchinson is just so good that why don't you just go get another one? At that point in time, that was the biggest crack that opened up for me. Where I just started looking at him sideways, like, and my man Tactical Sport will say the same thing, right? He soured on Brad once he gaslit the fans. And I think that's really when I kind of turned my back on Brad Holmes. And I don't want to say I've turned my back like completely, but here's my take. If we don't make the playoffs and Brad Holmes F's around and does the same stuff that he did last offseason, this offseason, and then pumps his chest to the media, fire him. I'm sorry. Because that means that's who you are. You're arrogant and you're spiteful. And we don't need that as a GM. Go look at Howie Roseman. Go look at Les Snead. Go look at any of these people who have the right to be arrogant and spiteful and are not. Who have won multiple Super Bowls and are not arrogant and spiteful. Right? You ask Howie Roseman a question and he's not just going, hey, look, I put my nuts on the table. I put my rings on the table. You're a peon. You don't have the ability to talk to me. So I'm going to ask you guys in the chat, is it better for the Detroit Lions to make the playoffs this season or to not make the playoffs this season? Because at the end of the day, you make the playoffs. We're struggling to believe that this team can win 3 straight games. You make the playoffs, are you winning the Super Bowl? I mean that you were a Super Bowl contender. And you didn't show me because you didn't beat them. So whether you make the playoffs or don't make the playoffs, I think the outcome is the same. There's not going to be a Super Bowl. Obviously, not making the playoffs, there's no possible way there's a Super Bowl. But we'll get into other reasons why in a minute. But let me get to your comments in the chat. What up, though, Tater Bob? Lamigo Cardine says, Jared has to learn how to read the room of the Lions fan base. I mean, what do you expect, Jared? Y'all haven't won 2 straight games in 2 months. Facts. Big facts. Right? And that one was, I didn't even say that one, right? They need to feed Demo. They need to do a lot of things differently than what they're doing. Not PO'd, predicted 10-7, LOL. Well, if you predicted 10-7, then you knew they weren't making the playoffs. Everybody's wrong and Brad's right. Facts. Dr. Detroit, what I don't know. I don't know what that question is for. The "we're good" comment from Brad and Dan pissed me off. I think that gets I don't think Brad ever said that, but I know Dan has said it multiple times. I'd rather make the playoffs. Of course, a draft pick is not making a difference next year. Well, there are a few draft picks that we don't have that can't make a difference because we had to have Isaac Tesla. We need a huge free agent push. Again, we're going to cry broke and poor. Remember, we've got to re-sign this guy. We've got to re-sign that guy. We've got to extend this guy. We've got to extend that guy. And oh, by the way, Jared Goff has a $70 million cap hit coming, which I don't care about. Like I've already said this before, the cap isn't real. It doesn't exist. They're going to restructure Jared Goff. They're going to restructure Penei Sewell. But that's always the excuse. Either we don't have the money to pay the guy or the guy doesn't fit our culture. When you keep putting obstacles in the way of yourself, it's very hard to actually be successful. No one in life that constantly puts obstacles in their own way. And I talked to my sons about this. Don't defeat yourself before making an attempt. You are defeating yourself by telling me how expensive a person is when you've got capologists, when y'all have some phenomenal contracts on the books right now. And then putting up this very, very, because you know how something is all inclusive. Your culture, your group, your clique is so exclusive that I to get. So I don't know about a big free agent push. I don't know if that exists here. They cannot do it this year. They lost a lot of good players. That's also true. Not good, just average. I need Aaron Rodgers to come to Ford Field as old Aaron Rodgers and beat this team there on a high horse that they shouldn't be on. You can hate me now, but I won't stop now. I can't root for Aaron Rodgers to win anything. I'm sorry. I agree. Tesla pick for 3/3 is questionable. Oh, it's not questionable. It was stupid. And it was a Brad Holmes special. Hey, I'm gonna take third-round picks and throw them away for a project player or a player that's absolutely not necessary. Broderick Martin, Manu, Tesla, Hendon Hooker. Sorsdal over Puka Nacua. Sorsdal over Puka Nacua. And then because you didn't draft Puka Nacua, then you threw away because everyone's Isaac Tesla is like Puka Nacua light. So then you threw away 3 third-round picks. Doesn't make sense. Is the window closing or has it slammed shut? I don't think it's slammed shut, but again, it is going to hinge on Brad Holmes being open-minded. If Brad Holmes is closed-minded, we're going to see this, this offseason. And then, the people that are calling him the smartest man in the room, they're right. And the only reason that I don't want to call him the smartest man in the room is because I want to reserve that for Bob Quinn. Once you go into, because look, two areas at the same time. He could not secure a re-signing of Ndamukong Suh, and he didn't draft Aaron Donald because he listened to his dumbass offensive coordinator who said that Eric Ebron was the missing piece. I'm telling you, if those two things were different, Martin Mayhew would probably still be here. I'm telling you. Because you put Ndamukong Suh and Aaron Donald next to each other and tell me you're not going to get to one Super Bowl in Aaron Donald's career. I don't know about that. No, we are a good team. We need a center and a left tackle. Then we need a defensive end opposite of Hutch. We may need a safety and a real CB. Okay. So how many people did you just say we need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So DE, CB. Never. We lucked into Hutch because Jacksonville was dumb. We get people like Josh Pascal, Levi Onwuzurike. All right, we're I'm gonna get into the thought exercise. I think there's enough people here now. The thought exercise is this, and it ties into what I'm talking about here with this comment. So I'll ask you the thought exercise. How many of our players are as dominant as they say they are? Because I feel like for a while now, we've had situations where whenever people are propping up our players, they're not as good as we think they are. Here are some people who are as good as we think they are and even better than other people think that they are or give them credit for. Kirby Joseph is as good as advertised. Okay? I'll save this one because we got to have more of a talk about this. Kirby Joseph is as good as advertised. Jahmyr Gibbs is as good as advertised. Jahmyr Gibbs is being hampered by improper usage. As I said, if someone would please go and look at how the Atlanta Falcons use Bijan Robinson and imagine Jahmyr Gibbs being used in the same way. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I would say, is as good as advertised. I would say the JMO hype is real. Except for one of the players that I just mentioned. What do all the other ones have in common? What up to Mr. Rao 313? Okay, I'll let you answer that question and then I'll ask you this question. Brian Branch, I think, is as good as advertised. However, it's just something about Brian Branch and his inability to stop getting 15-yard penalties. And it hurts the team. I don't think it's his skill set and his ability to play the game of football that hampers Brian Branch. I think there's a mental thing there that stops him from being exactly who we think he is and exactly who his stats say that he should be. So I'm not going to look at him from a talent standpoint. Is Aleem McNeil as good as they say he is? Is he even a top 10 defensive tackle in this league? He certainly has not been this year. Has he ever been? As good as Hutch is, I'm gonna throw out some names, and I want you to tell me out of these names, who is he definitively better than? Myles Garrett, Daniil Hunter, Will Anderson Jr., Trey Hendrickson, Max Crosby, TJ Watt. Okay, I'll say it again. Daniil Hunter, Max Crosby, Will Anderson Jr., TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, Trey Hendrickson. How many of those people is he definitively better than? We have no corners that we can say anything good about. Brad Holmes is a DB snob, as he calls himself. We've had no secondary the entire time he's been here, other than our two safeties, other than the Carlton Davis trade, which he couldn't sustain because he wouldn't re-sign him. Last year, you could say we had a dog-ass secondary, but he let all that go away because he thought he could be cheap and get Carlton Davis a deal on the cheap. And then he got a deal for $20 million a year and said, I'm taking it because you're on that bush. And then we go and get DJ Reed, who again is the same as Cam Sutton in the way that he was never a number one corner in the league. And we came and got him and paid him number one corner money. How many of our guys are who they say, or who we say they are? How many of our guys that we prop up are actually him? That's my question. And then when you answer that question, you'll see why this exclusive club and clique of our guys needs to change. All right, let me get to the rest of the comments. Good teams don't win Super Bowls. Complete teams do. I do understand your point. Just win Detroit. Oh, I wish it was that easy. We need a QB Detroit Lions. Would Z still be playing if we signed him and started him? Yes. 100%. 100%. Big Z retired because he wasn't where he wanted to be. He didn't want to be in Philly. His heart was in Detroit. And Brad Holmes ripped it out. No, we are a bit overhyped. Okay. What up, though, Lisa? All right. The Lions drafted what Spirit of Detroit likes to call a bunch of tryhards. Hey. I mean, I don't disagree. Sewell is great. Amon is great. J-Mo is great. Joseph great. Gibbs great. Okay, good. I forgot about Panay. What up, though? Hutch is really good. McNeil is down a year, but has McNeil ever been him? That's my thing. We paid McNeil like McNeil was him, but has McNeil ever been him? He's a really good player, but we just talked about complete teams. Complete teams, complete players. Every time McNeil is having a good year, he gets injured. And then now he comes back from injury again, and he's not the same player who was ascending to those heights. So then we messed around and drafted a McNeil clone in Tyleik Williams. I don't get it. We have the bones, but we need players. Okay. All right. I get it. You said it 15 times. The Falcons are losing, but you want him to be used like Bijan. No, no, no. The Falcons aren't losing because of Bijan. Okay, Lisa. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that at all. Nah. Lisa, you usually solid, but we're not gonna do that one. I didn't say that at all. Branch is really good. Laporta, okay. Well, Laporta's injured, so I forget about Laporta. Last year for Monty, he was really good, yeah, and we stopped bringing him. Has Branch hit his ceiling? Branch won't hit his ceiling until, as I said, the mental aspect. Whatever it is, the reason that he's always getting 15-yard penalties, the reason that he's crashing out, the reason he's getting ejected, the reason that he's getting fined, until he breaks out of those things, he won't hit his ceiling. And we won't know how good he can be. Is it just me, or does Aaron Rodgers look like the great kazoo from the Flintstones in his helmet? Call me crazy, but it's on point. Yeah, now that you say it, I can see it. He's just below them guys. Okay. Hutch. Kirby may not be coming back. His knee is bone on bone, full of arthritis. I mean, maybe not this year, but he'll go to Germany and get some procedures done and come back, and you'll have to shoot him up on Toradol, and yeah. Yes, we let go of Carlton. You think Hutch is better than Daniil Hunter? Okay. I agree. Brad Holmes needs to learn his lesson from this season. He has so much egg on his face. I hope he corrects this offseason, or the drums are going to get really loud. And that's the thing. Will he be able to do that? What up to Robert Stevens? Or is it Ron is gonna mess around and get blocked. I'm gonna tell you that much right now. What up though, Mr. Detroit City? I want to give a shout out to Mr. Detroit City, because me and Mr. Detroit City have disagreed on like players and stuff, but Mr. Detroit City has never been disrespectful. He's never been disrespectful, right? And so shout out to him. For that, because like I said, there are some people that come in here and think that just because they subscribe, they can be assholes, and they get blocked real quick. So shout out to Mr. Detroit City, man. Who is our next offensive coordinator? I don't know. I was hoping it was Mike McDaniel. Hopefully, I know it sounds bad. Hopefully he gets fired. I know it sounds bad, but Gruden for OC. Not if you're singing the praises of Johnny Morton. I'm sorry about that. We need to distance ourselves from anybody doing that. Brad Stubborn Holmes. Aleem is not worth his contract. I would say that right now. Yes, we know this. Who are you repeating this to? I don't think you've said it. Um um Fair point about McNeil. It could be the Brad just falls in love with his picks. And that's a problem. Because it takes him so long to admit he was wrong, right? This is where we're getting. It took him so long to admit he was wrong about Broderick Martin. It took him so long to admit he was wrong about Hendon Hooker. It took him so long to admit he was wrong about Emmanuel Mosley. He hasn't admitted he was wrong about Marcus Davenport, right? It takes him a long time to admit he's wrong. He doesn't just move on. His mentor, Les Snead, moves on. I'm not going to keep you here. I had you here for one reason, and that was to win a Super Bowl. Jalen Ramsey, you helped us win a Super Bowl. Thank you very much. Let's ship you out of here. Like, we can't just hang on to stuff. And that's the problem. And that's why I'm saying, if you look at, again, the Patriots, one off season, they just went and got the pieces that they needed on defense. We're not going to do that. We're not going to spend that money. We're not going to move off of contracts that don't make sense. Our club is too exclusive. You can't get in. And that's the problem. Brian Branch is a fine player. He knocks people over. We had all pro CB Fuller, who never played it down and didn't get off the practice squad and hasn't been an all pro in the last 5 years. uh, it's not over till it's over. I just read an FB post by someone that Deion Sanders will coach for our Detroit Lions. It won't happen. So you have to be careful about those Facebook posts because a lot of them come from Nigeria and other places, and I don't know why they're there. I don't know why people keep clicking on them. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Uh, Ron seems to be a hater, tired of playing at home by himself. Sure hangs out here with real ones. Yeah, he was okay when the Bears were like, lowly, but as soon as they got up to like he's been insufferable since. So we might have to give him some humble pie. Sheila isn't letting Dion 10 miles from this organization. It's not even a real conversation. Yep, that's why I was saying. See, this is why. See, when y'all say crazy, crazy, wild stuff like this, you think Brad Holmes wasted a draft pick to tell Okay, we're back. This guy, listen, man. This person here, he said I muted him. What the frick are you talking about? Goodbye. Like, seriously, bro. This dude, like, he has such a high opinion of himself. Is that our tour? My goodness, bro. I muted him. What? Okay. What I said was that was a stupid ass idea that you had there, an opinion that freaking Brad Holmes wasted a draft pick on Hendon Hooker just to shut people up. What he could have done just to shut people up would be to draft a freaking edge rusher before the 6th round. An edge rusher, not Josh Pascal, someone that actually could rush the passer. He also drafted Broderick Martin, a project to shut people up about our interior push. Come on, man. Get the frick out of here, bro. Bye. Don't come back. Oh my God, bro. That dude, bro. As I said, because Brad knows best and you do not. You know nothing. Brad knows everything. Right? As I said, a project. A project. Yeah. He said I muted him and I was like, my microphone cut out. So how is that me muting him? So stupid. We have a good team, but the rest of the NFC has gotten better. So now, what is our GM going to do next? Our good isn't good enough. Um, what up? What up, though? Sack the pack. This is the Charlie Chaplin part of the show. No, it was because my mic runs through another program, so I don't know. The program glitched up and said, I don't know. I don't know what happened, but yeah. Brad Holmes drives who they like, never to please anyone. Yeah, well, tell that to Independent Aquaman. Next time I see Independent Aquaman, I will not engage with him. I'm not gonna block him. Lisa, you can do that because you're a mod on LNU. If you want to block him. Because I mean, this uh, dude is delusional. I've been called golf phobic by him before. Then he unsubscribed. He comes back like a month later, and now he's freaking sitting up here talking about Brad Holmes. Like, no one wants to hear these tinfoil hat freaking theories that you have. And every time he comes into a chat, he tries to take over the chat. No, bro. Like, you can block him if you want to. I'm done engaging with him. He'll be back during the off season, and I won't put anything on the screen for him. Nothing. Mike McDaniels would be nice if they let him go. Yes, I've been, unfortunately preying on that man's downfall. Dude, Lions fans are interesting. They really can be delusional. Yes, especially the ones that have agendas. Whether you hate golf or love golf, you have this agenda and you just come in and when someone doesn't agree with it, you throw a hissy fit and you leave. Bye. You know what I'm saying? He left. He left. But when I'm talking about banning him. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, I don't want to deal with this. Like, it's crazy, bro. If I was sitting up here spouting this type of crap, would you guys want to listen to me? If I was telling you things like, oh, Brad Holmes only drafted this player because his third uncle's cousin on his nephew's niece's side, told him that if he did, he would get a bar of gold under the rainbow in the box of Lucky Charms. Like, what are you talking about, bro? Yes, he does. I know I don't like a lot of Brad picks, but I love others. But it's his free agency stuff where I think he fails miserably. To me, he is a great scout, but his GM skills are questionable. Yeah, sometimes it just doesn't translate. I'm telling you. There was someone who said that he was living off the Jahmyr Gibbs pick, which is not totally untrue. It's way off base, but you got the draft right. He's not living off one pick. It's the one draft that he knocked out of the park, which I said is probably one of the top drafts. It's the Jahmyr Gibbs draft, where you got Jahmyr Gibbs, Sam Laporta, Brian Branch, Jack Campbell. Okay. But in that same draft, you also got Broderick Martin and Hendon Hooker. Okay. Hutch fell into his lap because Jacksonville was Jacksonville. What if Jacksonville didn't Jacksonville? Who would we have drafted? Would we have drafted Sauce? Here's another thought. Here's another thought exercise for you guys. Follow me on this one. It's actually bad that that Jacksonville because it never forced Brad Holmes to develop the defensive line. He developed the defensive line, you say? Really? What round was Levi Onwuzurike drafted in? The next highest pick until this year. And this year doesn't even really, it was a freaking lateral pick. You got a clone of a guy that you already had. And you got that guy in the third round being Aleem McNeil. The next highest pick after Hutch for this entire time has been Josh Pascal, who he drafted in the second round. And again, I told you, look at the Broncos because their highest drafted pass rusher came in the second round. They have a guy doing damage who was drafted in the seventh round, Jonathan Cooper. So it's not about the round in which you draft the people in, but the impact that they have. Where's your scouting of the defensive line past Hutch? Here's the other glaring issue. Brad Holmes played defensive tackle. Ray Agnew, who is his right-hand man, was a defensive lineman in the NFL. And neither one of them can identify defensive line talent. Make that make sense? Aleem McNeil, with one more injury, is going to enter the Marcus Davenport realm. You're going to have that conversation. Not as bad as Marcus Davenport, but you're going to have to call him injury prone. If he gets injured again, you're going to have to call him that. Because even that season where he got 5 sacks from the interior, he got injured. He missed 4 games with a knee injury. And then the very next season, he blows out his ACL completely. So he's been injured, I think, 3 of his 4 seasons. He's dealt with some sort of injury. We know what happened with Levi Onwuzurike. And the fact that you even, it doesn't matter how little that you paid him. The fact that you paid him $1 without him getting like, oh, my knee hurts. Go get that checked out before we freaking extend you. You extended him, and then he went and got it checked out and found out it was torn. Really? Found out he needed surgery after he signed the contract. Really? Josh Pascal, bless his heart. Cancer, all that stuff. I can't be insensitive about that. But it wasn't even the cancer that kept him out this year. It was a back injury. It's a knee injury. It's a shoulder injury. Injury. El Qadim Muhammad, who's tied Aiden Hutchinson in sacks, was on his couch last year when you got him. Zadarius Smith, everyone was so excited about him playing on the other side of Hutch, and you freaking cut him to save $2 million. A $2 million you wouldn't have had to save, I might add, if you hadn't given Levi Onwuzurike a contract. Does anybody think about that? Does anybody think about the fact that you cut Big Z and gave the money to Levi Onwuzurike? Who then turned around right after signing a contract extension and went and got knee surgery. And it was a 1-year extension for more money than what you would have paid Big Z. I believe it was one year, $5 million. You let Kevin Zeitler go. You let Carlton Davis go. You didn't have a contingency plan for Frank Ragnow. Who knows? Maybe he's coming back next season. Maybe he's not. Who knows? I don't know. Anyway, you know what time it is. Mailbag. What you want to do? What you gonna do when they reading you? Mailbag. Snick, mailbag. Get your mailbag questions in. Get them in. Bask in it. All right. Let me try to get through your comments as you bring your mailbag questions in. I like all the opinions because people have weird ideas on how stuff works. But if your idea is and you get pissy about it because someone won't entertain it, okay. You know what I mean? But that was probably the reason your idea was in the first place, because you're not in touch with reality. I think Brad has done a great job not mortgaging the future. So you think sustained success is the way to go? If you don't mind, Sack the Pack, how old are you? I'm not attacking you. I just want to know how old you are because I want to understand your mindset. He's living off the Sewell pick. You don't love Jack Campbell? Jack Campbell's good, right? Jack Campbell's good, and Jack Campbell's going to get that contract. But here's the thing. All of those people got drafted in the same draft. That's a phenomenal draft. Facts. His D-line picks blow for sure. Right. Because Sewell was his O-line pick. Decker was already here. Glasgow was already here. Ragnow was already here. Sewell was it. Who else did he get? Colby Sorsdale? I'm talking about before Tate and Mahogany. Colby Sorsdale, the bane of my existence. Hutch is playing 90% of the snaps being exhausted definitely is going to hamper his production. If Brad would have picked up a DN, it would have helped Hutch huge. I do not disagree with you. I believe that you are 100% correct. He does play too much. And we've been begging Brad for 4 years to get someone opposite Hutch. But he just won't do it because Hutch is too good, and we're all mad that he drafted Hutch, and he won't just go draft another one. Yeah, we are. We're good. So says Dan Campbell. Mm-hmm. FA stuff bad, bro. His FA stuff is bad. Sack the pack, you're 48. So you're older than me. I guess you have a longer lease on life. I want to see a Super Bowl. I don't care about sustained success. See, this is what sustained success gets you. With the situation that we're in now. Well, we're in it at the end of every year. Yeah, we're used to, as Lions fans, we're used to being able. We were talking about the draft by Thanksgiving. Our season was over. We were 3-13-1. We were 12-4. We were 4-12. We were 5-12. 4-12. This is the 16 game seasons. We were 4-12, 3-13, 2-14, 1-15, 0-16. We were all of these terrible records, 5-11, right? 6-10. And our seasons were over. Okay, but now I've gotten the taste out of my mouth where I didn't win a division for 30 years, and now I won the division back-to-back times. Okay, I didn't win a playoff game in 30 years, and now I've won 2, and then went to the playoffs back-to-back. Okay. Here's the thing which accelerated the thinking. The first time we made it to the playoffs with Jared Goff, we went to the NFC Championship game. That's what did it. And in the second year, we followed it up with a 15-2 regular season record and a first playoff game, not first round, first game exit. Because we were the number 1 seed. So now in a situation where we've got to win the last 3 games of the season outright, and then we've got to get help from other teams. No, I don't care nothing about that. I want to see the Super Bowl happen. And if the Super Bowl happens and we win the Super Bowl, I mean, we got to win it. We could not make the playoffs again for 10 years, and I wouldn't care because we won the Super Bowl. Then if we won the Super Bowl and we were in this situation for the next 10 years where we're 8-6 and we're fighting for our playoff lives at the end, that's fine. I don't care about that. But the Super Bowl hasn't happened. You're 48. I'm 43. I need it to happen. That's what I need to see. I don't care about the future. Hutch is getting double team. Hutch getting chipped. Don't worry, Davenport is coming back soon. ROFL. Right. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people believed in Davenport. I was not one of them ever. You can go back. Well, you can't. When we first signed him, my content has been deleted. Right from when we first signed him, that content is no longer available on the internet. Someone scrubbed it. Okay. Probably still has it, but it's not available for you guys to see. But in that content, when I was in that unfortunate place that I was in, giving my opinions, I never believed in Marcus Davenport. And there were people that were always trying to tell me, "Oh, but he's this." I don't believe in it because he doesn't play football. And Now that he's back playing football and he's played 3 games without getting injured, he's got a tackle. He's got 1 stat. Cool. All right. He might. I'm sorry. He might have had an assisted tackle against the Rams, possibly. Yeah, I don't care about how well they balance their checking account. Go get a Super Bowl. Facts. Me too, but I also like winning, and the games are closer than it looks. Oh, we're not getting blown out, and we're not a bad team. But there's just something that Dan Campbell told you guys, and a lot of people didn't really understand what he said. He said, "You may never ever get back. This may have been our one and only chance." And each season since the NFC Championship game, we have regressed in terms of the postseason. We went from winning 2 games, so sorry, 2.5 games, right? Because you couldn't have told us anything about going to the Super Bowl, about not going to the Super Bowl at, when we were beating the 49ers ass in the first half, like Sunday, right? So you go from winning 2.5 playoff games in the NFC Championship to committing 5 turnovers, which, according to Independent Aquaman, none of those turnovers were Goff's fault. Okay. Goff didn't turn any of those over, even though he had 4 of them. Okay. You went from NFC Championship game to getting the number 1 seed and losing your only playoff game that you played in front of your home crowd to, in this situation, if you don't win all 3 of these, you're not making the playoffs. And even if you do win all 3 of these, it's still very easy for you not to make the playoffs. We have a 36% chance, 36% chance to make the playoffs. And even though you have to play the Bears and beat them, that still doesn't mean you're making the playoffs if you win all 3. You have to have teams lose and collapse and so on and so forth. Because there are like 3 teams in front of you. So this is what I mean about what Dan Campbell said. A lot of people wanted to kill him for it. A lot of people didn't understand what he said, but that could have been your best chance, and you freaking blew it. See, you're 54, so you know what I'm saying. Season ticket holder for decades. You know the pain. We all know the pain. We won Super Bowls. We're good. Yep. That's what Dan Campbell said. He said we're good. All right, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here. We don't have any mailbag questions today. I appreciate those of you who came through, hung out. I appreciate those of you who were respectful, unlike Independent Aquaman. Um, there's a guy named Donkey Kong, and every time I see Donkey Kong in here, I time him out immediately. And I think I'm gonna go to doing that with Independent Aquaman. Independent I just need to keep this interface up so I can see when the sound goes out. It's freaking ridiculous. Anyway, my point was this. When Brad Holmes messes up, it's just like your child. You love your child, but if he messes up or she messes up, there's got to be consequences. When Brad Holmes messes up, you may love him, but you got to hold his feet to the fire. That's all. And it doesn't mean that you don't believe in him. It doesn't mean that you don't believe in the Lions organization. Just demand more. Look at Philly. Howie Roseman was fired after winning a Super Bowl. Okay? Or after getting to the Super Bowl, whatever the case may be. What he was fired. Okay? Comes back, wins Super Bowls. They fired Doug Peterson the year after he won the Super Bowl. It's not that hard. We got to hold these people accountable. All right. Appreciate y'all once again. Once again, the Motor City Cats R&D back at it. We came to give you stats, not none of that static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. And we are out. Peace.